What happens when a franchise desperate for playoff glory watches their golden opportunity slip through their fingers? Again, the Detroit Red Wings faithful know this feeling all too well. It's the bitter taste of almost there, the frustration of watching management play it safe while the window of opportunity slowly creaks shut. And now, just when hope was building that Steve Yzerman might finally pull the trigger on a franchise-altering move, the Vancouver Canucks have slammed the door shut, at least for now, on what could have been the most electrifying trade of the decade. The dream that won't die. Let's set the scene properly here. The Red Wings are sitting pretty at 13-9-1, second in the Atlantic Division, looking like a legitimate playoff contender for the first time in years. This isn't the struggling Detroit team that's been clawing at the playoff bubble for the past 2 seasons. This is a squad with momentum, with confidence, with something to prove. And Red Wings fans? They're not asking for the moon anymore, they're demanding it. Enter Quinn Hughes, the 25-year-old defensive wizard who's been torching the NHL with his elite skating, vision, and playmaking ability. He's not just any defenseman, he's a Norris Trophy winner, a game-breaker, and here's the kicker, a former Michigan Wolverine with deep Detroit roots. The narrative practically writes itself. Hughes in a Red Wings jersey would be the kind of homecoming story that Hollywood would reject for being too perfect. But on Monday, Sportsnet's Elliotte Friedman dropped a bombshell that sent shockwaves through Hockeytown. Vancouver is listening to offers on veterans as they pivot toward youth, but Quinn Hughes? He's untouchable. An unnamed executive made it crystal clear trading their franchise cornerstone is not their priority right now. The Yzerman dilemma. Patience or paralysis? Here's where things get spicy, folks. Steve Yzerman, the legendary Red Wings captain turned general manager, has built his reputation on patience, on calculated moves, on never overpaying. It's a philosophy that's earned respect around the league. But there's a fine line between patience and paralysis, and last season Dylan Larkin, the current captain, publicly called out Yzerman for his inaction at the trade deadline. Think about that for a moment. Your captain, the heartbeat of your locker room, essentially says, "We need help, and we needed it yesterday." That's not a player being dramatic. That's a leader recognizing that championship windows don't stay open forever. And now, with the Red Wings finally playing meaningful hockey in late November, the pressure on Yzerman to make a splash has never been more intense. The Hughes situation adds another layer of complexity. This isn't just about acquiring a top-tier defenseman, it's about correcting a historical mistake. In 2018, Detroit held the 6th overall pick in the NHL draft. Quinn Hughes was sitting right there, a local product with elite potential. Instead, the Red Wings selected Filip Zadina, a forward who's now out of the NHL entirely. Let that sink in. They passed on a generational defensive talent for a player who couldn't stick in the league. Vancouver's poker face, what are they really thinking? Now, let's talk about Vancouver's strategy here, because something doesn't quite add up. The Canucks are supposedly pivoting toward youth, actively shopping veterans, trying to get younger and more dynamic. Yet they're keeping Hughes, who's 25 years old and entering his prime, off the trade block. Either Vancouver's front office is playing 4D chess, or they're sending mixed signals that would confuse a cryptographer. Here's the reality. Hughes is due for a new contract after the 2026-27 season. That's less than 2 years away. Before the season, Hughes made it clear his focus was on helping Vancouver make the playoffs. But with the Canucks already dismantling their veteran core, how long before Hughes starts asking questions? How long before his agent starts making phone calls? Ben Kuzma of the province reported back in September that the Red Wings and several other suitors are monitoring Hughes' situation closely. That's not speculation, that's reconnaissance. Teams are circling like sharks, waiting for blood in the water. And if Vancouver's rebuild doesn't show immediate results, if they miss the playoffs again, Hughes might just decide that his future lies elsewhere. The Canucks are playing a dangerous game. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too. Rebuilding while keeping their best player, hoping he'll stick around through the tough times. But history tells us that elite players in their prime don't have patience for prolonged rebuilds. They want to win now, And if their current team can't provide that path, they'll find one that can, the Michigan connection. More than just geography, let's not overlook the emotional component of this potential union. Quinn Hughes isn't just any player who happened to play college hockey in Michigan. He was a star for the Wolverines, recording 62 points in 69 games, earning all-freshman honors and first-team All-Big Ten recognition in 2019. He electrified Ann Arbor. He became part of Michigan hockey lore. Detroit fans remember those performances. They watched Hughes dominate at Yost Ice Arena, probably wondering why their NHL team didn't have anyone like him on the blue line. The connection runs deeper than statistics. It's about identity, about bringing a local hero home, about redemption for that 2018 draft blunder. And here's the thing about players with regional ties: they matter in ways that spreadsheets can't quantify. They sell jerseys, they energize fan bases, they create storylines that transcend the sport itself. Hughes in Detroit wouldn't just improve the power play or the transition game, it would reignite a passion in Hockeytown that's been simmering but not quite boiling over. The trade deadline countdown begins, so where does this leave us? The Red Wings are playing well, but playing well doesn't guarantee playoff success, let alone Stanley Cup contention. The Atlantic Division is a bloodbath with Florida, Toronto, and Boston all lurking. One injury, one cold streak, and suddenly Detroit's back on the outside looking in. Yzerman knows this. He's been through enough playoff battles to understand that you need that extra gear, that difference maker who can elevate your team when it matters most. Hughes would be that player. He's averaging over 24 minutes per game, quarterbacking Vancouver's power play, and playing in all situations. He's the kind of defenseman who makes everyone around him better. But here's the harsh reality: Vancouver says no. For now. Those last two words are crucial. For now means the door isn't permanently sealed. It means that if the Canucks continue to struggle, if Hughes starts expressing frustration, if the offers become too good to refuse, then maybe, just maybe, a deal gets done. The trade deadline is still months away. A lot can change between now and then. Vancouver could go on a winning streak and convince Hughes they're building something special. Or they could crater, miss the playoffs for the umpteenth time, and Hughes could privately request a trade. The Red Wings, along with several other contenders, will be watching every Canucks game with intense interest. The summer of 2027, Plan B or Plan A. If a trade doesn't materialize, there's always free agency. Hughes becomes an unrestricted free agent in the summer of 2027. That's not that far away in the grand scheme of things. Yzerman could play the long game, keep his prospects and draft picks intact, and make a massive push to sign Hughes outright. Imagine the pitch: come home to Detroit, play for the team that should have drafted you. Help us win a Stanley Cup in front of fans who've loved you since your college days. We'll make you the highest paid defenseman in franchise history. That's compelling. That's the kind of offer that makes a player seriously consider his options, especially if Vancouver hasn't shown significant progress by then. But it's also risky. 2 years is a long time to wait, and there's no guarantee Hughes would choose Detroit over other suitors. The Rangers, the Avalanche, the Maple Leafs, plenty of teams will have cap space and championship aspirations. The verdict: frustration now. Hope for tomorrow. Red Wings fans have every right to be frustrated. They've watched their team improve, they've seen the potential, and they know that one elite defenseman could transform this squad from playoff hopeful to legitimate contender. Quinn Hughes represents everything Detroit needs: skill, leadership, local connection, and a chance at redemption for past mistakes. But Vancouver's decision to keep Hughes off the trade block, for now, means the waiting game continues. It's agonizing, it's uncertain, and it tests the patience of a fan base that's already endured years of mediocrity. Yet there's still hope. Situations change, priorities shift, and what's impossible today might become inevitable tomorrow. Steve Yzerman has built his legacy on making smart, calculated decisions. The question is whether he'll recognize when the time for calculation is over and the time for bold action has arrived. Dylan Larkin and the rest of the Red Wings are ready to compete now. The fans are ready to believe now. All that's missing is that one piece that turns a good team into a great one. Quinn Hughes could be that piece. And whether it happens at the trade deadline in the summer of 2027 or somewhere in between, the dream of seeing him in a Red Wings jersey isn't dead, it's just on hold. For Detroit fans, that might be the most frustrating part of all, knowing that perfection is out there, tantalizingly close, yet just beyond reach. What do you think? Should Yzerman go all in and make Vancouver an offer they can't refuse? Or is patience still the right strategy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to smash that like button if you're as fired up about this as we are. The hockey world is watching, and Detroit's next move could define the next decade of Red Wings hockey.